how we perceive all the notions and concepts related to the digital world. And we're going to see how we compare to how children perceive them, to try to understand if there is a gap or not, like no pre-assumptions whatsoever. We're going to explore if there is a gap or not, and to see if there is a gap, how we can bridge it. You're going to discover how the session is going to unfold as we go forward. But first, I'm going to distribute papers and ask you for a couple of minutes to put the prompt on the projector. You're going to need the colored markers if you can find a way to share. The prompt is, for a couple of minutes, if you can just share how you imagine the digital world. Just visualize whatever comes to mind when you want to imagine the digital world, the internet, the digital environment, whatever you want to call it. Just be as creative as possible. But no, the drawing quality is not really the point here. Just whatever comes to mind for a couple of minutes. Just express yourself.
You mean the interface? You mean the interface or symbolizing?
Whatever comes to mind when you want to imagine the digital world as a virtual world, as a world. It can be anything, like no right or wrong answers. That's the point. And there's extra markers here. If anyone wants. And use the colors, be colorful, if you want. You have this option.
نحاول بس نتخيل بالنسبة نحاول بس نتخيل ديجيتال وورد بالنسبة لي كيف نشوفها يعني بس ألف كلمة ديجيتال وورد نتخيل إذا بدك ألوان
two more minutes if you need more. If I take like photos while you are.
Yes.
Anyone? Sorry. لا أبغى
أنا خلصت بس ممكن أمثل إن أنا لسه برسم ولا
Okay. Okay. Does anyone sorry. Does anyone would anyone like to share what first came to mind when thinking of the digital please?
Sorry, I came late.
No.
But I came here actually for my child because I think I'm seeing صحافة صفراء now
Okay.
when I open internet.
Mm.
My father used to work in selling magazines and newspapers, so I think this is the worst version of what you can see compared to high quality artistic things. Also, there's a lot of things that is ugly
Mm.
that my son is seeing and I am seeing, and a lot of colors and bars. So I think a more version of people connected, but in a nature way.
Okay.
I don't know how, but
Okay.
yeah, that's what I meant. And with a lot of tables like outside, like you offer a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, but in a simple way.
Okay, so and that's more like what you would want the digital world to be, or
Yeah.
okay. What about you? If you would like, then there's no pressure.
The first word it was interconnectivity.
Okay.
And I wanted a like different connection. I don't know if you do it with smartphones with computer. But then I try to also I think behind our screen, I don't know, what are there. So that's I try to symbolize by the messy because I think
Okay.
you can find also good things, either bad things. So and regarding kids or children, so that's why I like to make something like messy or like
Okay. It's more like chaos.
yes.
Okay. Please.
I can go next. So basically this is what I drew, and how I see it is that it's different signs and numbers floating in the space or like just in the word, and people would capture it in different and analyze it in different forms,
Okay.
and just all of it it's connected, you know.
Waves and bits
Yeah.
and numbers.
And people would capture it, and I used as much colors as I can because as she mentioned before that it's just once we touch a phone, an iPad, whatever, it's just visuals of colors and
Okay.
shapes.
Interesting. Anyone else? Yes, please.
I imagine the digital world as a dot and networks.
Okay. Connected. Makes sense. Same here, connectivity between us.
Yeah, but like I have the black hole down there.
It
which
sucks
is,
everything.
yeah.
So, okay. And same here, I guess, connection.
Yeah, connection was at the same time if the mindset worked, the reply is instant, which we always know with the internet since it started, but at the same time they can share even harmful comments. So
Good.
that's why I kept it blank. It can either be a white page or a black page, but they're sharing with each other, whether bullying or positive reinforcement. And at the same time, what we're getting used to, since the rise of the internet, it's getting more now with the AI agent, like how easily knowledge can be accessible. Because I don't want to be too negative on that third part. So it's to highlight on the positive side of it. How libraries have all digitalized, and through AI we can systemize and learn anything.
Interesting. These are truly very interesting ways to visualize, and I can see like common themes among all the drawings is that there's always connectivity and connecting people to each other or users, but with more elements that are more related to what your interests are. For example, AI, for example, something more social. So, but there's always some kind of connectivity. Now, since we don't have much time, I'm gonna quickly go over before like comparing or like let's put that on the side for a bit, and let me walk you through quickly a workshop we did with children regarding the same topic, and it was actually part of like a thesis work, a thesis research, and the main inspiration was that the experts working on digital well-being in the European Union, because this is where the workshop was held, were working on very extensive material and very well thought material about children and how to ensure their well-being. However, the way they were communicating these ideas and this research to the children was very not from a children's perspective. For example, like very quickly, there's something called EU Kids. It's the strategy for a better internet for kids in the EU. And this is the child-friendly version of their strategy. So they, for example, thought that adding illustrations would make it child-friendly. However, lots of paragraphs, lots of text. I didn't read it all. Like this is how boring it is for children, for example. This is like very small example. And this is another one from the EDPS, that's European Directory of Data Protection Supervisory of the EU. This is the intro to digital ethics. This is how they created the child-friendly version of their strategy. So throughout all the documents that they tried to create for children, we noticed that there's a gap between how they understood the digital world and how children understood. So we decided to pursue research with children from their perspective to try to understand if we can decrease this gap to ensure the well-being of children to be able to communicate from their perspective. So we did two similar workshops, one in Belgium, in Aalst, in a village there, and one in my hometown in the north, in Lebanon. And we gathered 30 children there, 30 children here, and we gave them the same prompt, which is, first of all, to imagine how the digital world, how they imagine the digital world. And I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to walk you through some of how they visualize it first, just so you understand how they perceive it. For example, these are a few from Aalst, from Belgium. You can see there's a lot of app icons everywhere. This is how they imagine it. Apps everywhere, and there's always a YouTube logo. There's TikTok, there's Roblox, it's a video game. Instagram, there's sometimes they insert themselves like here and there, sometimes they don't. This is another version, which is kind of close to your version, but with app icons everywhere. Like there's a lot of messiness, there's a lot of icons everywhere, and also you notice the YouTube logo is everywhere, literally everywhere. It's like obsession. And a lot of them inserted themselves to, like, they consider that this is how, like, their own digital chaos, for example. This, for example, is in Lebanon, in Kobayat. Completely separate group, not related whatsoever. They speak the different languages. And this is how they imagine the digital world. Also app icons everywhere, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, the Minecraft there. YouTube, Minecraft, Facebook. So this is how they imagined it. And these are separate groups, and even within the same group, they were doing it individually. Like they were not influencing each other, more or less. But these are two separate groups. But throughout the workshop, we noticed that one thing that was different from Lebanon, between Lebanon and Belgium, is that in Lebanon there was more visualization of the infrastructure. So network, the setup, the laptop itself, and everything related to the infrastructure. And throughout the discussion, we noticed that the first thing that comes to mind when talking about the digital world in the focus group in Lebanon was, first of all, in Belgium it was Minecraft, YouTube, TikTok, the apps, the games and stuff. In Lebanon, the first thing that came to mind, router, PC, internet, solar panel, UPS, so everything related to the infrastructure. So throughout the whole research, the conclusion was that, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind in Lebanon was accessibility to the internet, because it's not always there, it's not taken for granted. And in Belgium it was not. So the first thing that came to mind is that as if they were born inside this digital world. But if we step this further, everything else they thought about in terms of how they play, how they interact online, what they play, the video games that they use, the apps that they use were all the same. They use the same apps, the same video games, they watch the same short form videos, so everything was very similar. Yes, please.
In the Belgian picture, there were their characters. Were they in Lebanon?
You mean?
They draw themselves also?
No. For example, maybe one or two, but it wasn't prominent. So it wasn't a prominent element. And another activity was, that's like an extra activity that we did, is that, for example, they put their own digital words on a large sheet of paper, and then as a group they imagined how their shared digital world is. For example, they got really creative. They added more YouTube logos everywhere. They connected each other with different elements. For example, here, two girls connected their Roblox apps together. I asked them why. They said because they played with Roblox together, so they imagined themselves as having shared spaces. So they very much are aware of the interaction, they see it as a shared space, and etc. So, throughout the research and the discussion and the drawings and everything, it's like a large paper of 150 pages of analysis. We were able to kind of extract some statements or some opinions from the kids on how they think. So, for example, I'm gonna put some quotes of how the children think, for example, regarding specific issues. For example, there's this quote: "Playing Minecraft lets me do whatever I want. I create my own world and be whoever I want to be in it," for example. Another one said, "I love social media because all my friends are there. If I didn't have a phone, I wouldn't have any friends," for example. Another one is, "I can ask ChatGPT anything I want and it has all the answers. No need for any books or classes." And another one is, "My mother keeps telling me to stop using TikTok because it's not good, but she is always using it." So that's like basic quotes. Throughout the sessions and the workshops, we deduced that the children feel independent and empowered when being online. They have agency, they have no authority over them, they can do whatever they want. This is how they express themselves. In this Minecraft world, I can do whatever I want, I can be whoever I want. They are creative and curious, so So they are curious about this world, they want to know more, and they want to create more. And they feel connected with each other, they are entertained, and they are happy. That's the most important thing, they feel happy in this. So where does this lead us in terms of comparing with adults? Is that for us, we see, and especially everyone here, I assume, is in the field of digital media and everything related to the digital world. So you know the negative aspects, and you know the very dark aspect of the digital world. How can you communicate it to a generation that is fully embedded in this world and they see it as a very happy place, a very entertaining place, a place where they can be creative, where they can be connected? Because when you tell a child, don't use TikTok, they're gonna tell you okay, and they're gonna go use it in their bedroom, for example. If you steal their phone, if you take away their phone, they're gonna find a way to take it. There was a lot in the discussions where they go around the parental control apps, everything related to restrictions. They found a way. So now, if we can choose, I don't know how we're going to divide this, but keeping in mind their perspective, maybe we can do it as a group, as a whole, like no need to divide. But for example, if we have this statement, how do you think you can discuss this issue with a child who is saying that I love using TikTok, I'm always using TikTok, but my parents tell me not to use it because it's not good for me and I'm getting addicted. But at the same time, I see them using it and everyone else using it. So, in your opinion, how can you, for example, discuss this issue with this child, this 9-year-old child?
First of all, I should be a model and reduce my impact of social TikTok, for example. But also, I usually may watch it and say how this is violence, this is very commercial, what this says, discuss what we are watching and what it made us and what the idea to take from it.
But this child, for example, all she sees is very happy stuff, very creative stuff on TikTok.
I think in this, for the new generation, it's really hard to explain the downside of internet, and asking them to stop, I don't think it's ever going to be a solution. What I would do as a mom is maybe try to incorporate more activities into their daily lives and just give them more screen breaks without them realizing it. Like just filling their time with things that don't have to do with social media, because they wouldn't understand. Like they didn't see the downside and what we had before the internet.
Okay. It's good that you started from the fact that they didn't see the analog.
Yeah,
phase.
as much as we explain, they're not really gonna get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Please.
So first I differentiate between mobiles and, for example, tablet or iPad. So I don't give a 9 years old a mobile smartphone. I can give them a tablet with no social media. So I differentiate between social media and like YouTube, like video apps, Netflix, all of that. And I tell them the difference between social media application that is not suitable for their age. And I compare it, for example, with coffee. So I have like 7 years old. I tell him you can drink coffee now, but you can drink it when you are like older, at my age.
Okay, but your 7-year-old might tell you, and this is a real life example,
Yeah.
that if I don't have a phone and social media, I don't have any friends because all my friends are there. And this is an issue, especially parents in Lebanon are facing it because
Yeah.
now the standard age for having a phone in Lebanon is like 9,
Yeah.
for having a phone, access to everything.
Okay.
Like there's no actual study, but like from what you can see, it's 9, 10-year-old. So your son will tell, or daughter, like they will
Son,
tell you
my son.
that I don't have any friends outside the digital, or
Yeah.
this is the only way I can connect with my friends.
Yeah.
So how can you discuss that?
Like in my example right now, my son now is 7 years old and his friends have smartphones, and I told him like directly you will not have a smartphone until you are maybe 15 or 16, and we are not negotiating this.
Okay.
What we can do that I can engage him in other activities that he can have friends say, so sports, play music, reading clubs, but like I don't know, I imposed it because like you will not have a smartphone until this age.
Okay.
Just to mention, creating activities is taking from the adult's father time or mother.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable all the time when you have to do some work. Unfortunately,
True.
But
This is why a lot of parents use this tablet or phone as like a pacifier, like like just take your tablet and don't cry anymore. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of parents do that from like age 1, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, this argument. Does anyone have any idea how to discuss this with a child who can see all her friends online, but she isn't? For example, yes.
Sorry, I don't usually share, but I think with this it's interesting because I'm somewhere in the middle between. I wouldn't restrict them from not having social media because I fear like they would be ostracized, and I would also encourage like activity. But I think there's a way to have open discussions because the age of having these discussions is getting much younger now. And I would try to build an open way where like we can both share the space of being online together. So if she's on social media or he's on social media, we can be there together, we can make it an activity, we can discuss it, talk about why this is good, this is bad. And I am of the belief of not like completely restricting them from everything that's harmful because it will find a way, and instead welcoming them to have the conversation and ask the question and not feel like it's bad if you do this or it's good if you do this. Instead of it's just like we're gonna learn this together and figure out what the best way to use it is.
Okay. No, that's very good approach because starting from their perspective is like an essential point, and understanding how they feel and what they think before you impose. You can still use the approach of imposing certain rules, of course, but still that needs to start from being aware of what they think and how they see the digital world. Just one more argument, for example, something related to AI or generative AI. How would you, because this is like what the generation is going into now, replacing most of the creative and intellectual tasks with generative AI. So how can you still convince a child that it's not really the solution for everything?
I'm really with trying because we try to create images, but we check the answers. Trying to see if it's true or not and show how sometimes it's false answers in ChatGPT and we have to do more effort.
Okay, but now it's getting better and better.
Sorry, like, are you asking if they should not use ChatGPT or search, or should I encourage them to, like, for example, more reading, or like?
No,
because we are using ChatGPT, we are using Google in front of them, and sometimes they come to us and say, "Can you please ask ChatGPT to do that, or like to know information about that?" But like that's different than reading, for example. So if I want him to read more, I need to sit with him and read with him. And he needs to see me reading, like being a role model.
We're doing less of that.
Exactly. So this actually resonates with what you said about also like doing an activity together instead of watching short form videos all the time.
Maybe there's mistake on access also because I mean, if we are using assigned ChatGPT or Google or whatever to look for something, it's because we don't have time. It's because we need to access the information really quickly because we need to get an answer. But when you're a child and you are making something for your class or I don't know, you can look into a dictionary, into other books because this is your homework and you have more time than suppose when we are supposed to I don't know what. So maybe I will try to understand why they are looking at ChatGPT is because they don't have any books at home, they don't have any other resources to look for the information, and just to say or to explain that there's other places where they can look for the information, and the difference is that ChatGPT or Google or whatever, it's like it's quicker. It's quicker than if you are going to a book, but I think it is important to look in a book also for a dictionary then when they ask for a homework or yes. And sometimes, because I'm thinking about the rural areas, I mean, when you're in the city, it's maybe easier to go to a library and to look for the resources. But maybe if we are in rural areas where we don't have the same access, it could be a solution. I mean, to use ChatGPT, but
Yeah, it's interesting because usually the past assumption is that in rural areas you would have less access to technology and more to analog tools, but in cities it's the other way around. Now you're saying it's the other way because it's true. Like in rural areas, you would see the same use of technology in the cities because it's no longer related to the urbanization. And
I'm thinking about my context in France. I have to.
No, same here. Like, yeah, I mean, of course, in villages there might be a public library, there might not be, but most spaces there aren't. So, of course.
And even sometimes when you're a kid, you need to go to the place where the library is, and you have to take the car, and you cannot because you are adult, so there's other things.
Yeah. But in my how I would, for example, my nephew told me this one time, like, why do I need to study? I can just ask ChatGPT or whatever he's using, Gemini or something. I can just ask them anything and they can give me the answers. And also they compare it with the calculator. Why need to do the ingredients, whatever, something to do the division, but now I can just use the calculator. I personally, when he told me this, I told him you can use AI because it's dynamic. You can use it as a tool to help you find a certain answer, to help quicken some activity, for example, shortening a text or something. But you can't replace your brain with ChatGPT. It's like how do you say it?
Stationary.
Like a stationary box where you have pens and tools and compass and everything, and you can add ChatGPT to it, like to your backpack, but not replace everything with it. Because also you should be in control, not the technology being in control of you. Yes.
I'm thinking about this from a teaching perspective because I teach, and a lot of the times when students say like, "Oh, why are we using ChatGPT? Why can't we use ChatGPT or that?" I'm like, I never said you can't, but I also want you to think about like ask ChatGPT questions about yourself, and then ChatGPT won't know anything about you. So I was like, you have to remember that you are in control of the narrative, and a lot of the times it'll give you wrong information because it doesn't have the information you want to know. And so once you help like students or especially kids catch ChatGPT doing something wrong, that breaks the barrier of like, oh my god, ChatGPT knows everything. So I usually try to tell them that look for yourself and you won't find anything about you. So that breaks the barrier.
But even with videos, and I see more kids depending on videos as the truth. And when you show them text written sources that we don't have to believe everything, that would change a bit.
Exactly. Yeah, taking like TikTok videos or Instagram videos as truth is actually very common. And as you said, like, I know this information because TikTok told me that. I don't know. Lipstick. Like for example, also my nephew told my mom my sister that do you know that all lipstick contain a bacteria called I don't know what. because he showed her a video of like microscoping on a lipstick and finding germ. And for him, all lipsticks now contain this germ.
How come we do this?
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's a common thing across all generations, but I think psychologically we are more able to do critical thinking than children. I think so. Maybe this is why it's more children are more vulnerable to this. Generally, of course, a lot of people don't have critical thinking or are not able to perform critical thinking, even when adults. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to go through these just to see before we give some tips about how to think when preparing content, material, communications content for children, or when simply discussing digital issues with children, what to keep in mind. But throughout the discussion, I discovered that you already touched upon a lot of the things that we wanted to say. For example, putting yourself in their shoes, understanding how they see the digital world and how they conceptualize it, and why, the reason why they want to use the digital world in the first place. For example, we were discussing, like Natalia was telling me about, she's a clinical psychologist, she was telling me about a patient she has, about Momo, for example. What's Momo? What's the character?
Oh. Monster.
It's like a scary monster that appears in different
Videos.
and they saw it a lot, and then it was stuck in their brain, and now they got obsessed with it, and the child wouldn't be able to sleep because of it. Apparently, it's like a common case. But that's more about actually the third point is that don't underestimate the visual aspect, because what the activity we started with is how to visualize the digital world. It's important to see also how they visualize it, and to see if when we are communicating with children, see how we can bridge the gap between the two perspectives, because our perspective is important. It shouldn't be replaced by their perspective, because we know more about the analog era before the digital era, and also we have aspirations about what we want the digital world to be as you grew. So it's important also to communicate what we would like the digital world to be, but also to understand their perspective, and of course to use an empathetic and empowering tone, because children feel empowered in the digital world. They don't feel like, they feel they have control over their environment, they can be whoever they want. So if you want results, you cannot just tell them, don't use the digital world whatsoever. No, you should, or it's better if, or if it's more efficient if you tell the child, well, I understand how important this is for you and how this makes you feel, and I understand that Minecraft makes you feel very creative and very, and I'm not going to take that away from you forever, but also you should also know that you can be as creative in the physical world. You can go outside, you can create with your hands things that you might not be able to create in Minecraft, for example. So always find a way to balance ensuring their well-being while also respecting their agency and independence, like their empowerment. And also, of course, the general rule for anything related to children is to ensure their security and comfort, their privacy, their to understand and acknowledge the power imbalance between two generations and try to reduce it as much as possible, to ensure that the child you're communicating with is not intimidated by you as a digital expert trying to communicate something to children. You you should understand that they see you as someone, as a grown-up that might be coming to take away things from me. So always your method should have some kind of a way to reduce this gap between the two generations, and of course the visual aspect that we spoke about earlier. And if these are some kind of things to keep in mind from both the communications and the psychology point of view. So not sure if anyone would like anyone have any kind of reflection. There was like a small activity, but we don't have the time anymore. So yes.
Just one comment about that we need to differentiate between social media, playing games online, and watching videos, because they are totally different things. So I want my child to have his own digital world. He can play with strategic games where he can build stuff and build his own world. But I need to know when he should connect with others in this game. So that's a different thing. Using social media is totally different because it's addictive and it's not suitable for kids. Even if big tech companies telling us that they can start their own profile since 13 years old, that's not true. Because it's the idea of scrolling. Even for example, there is a difference in YouTube between scrolling short videos and watching videos. Because scrolling is really destroying a kid's mind. Because there's proven studies now, and that's how it's connected to. And brain rot also is connected to the idea of scrolling. And there's not a lot of studies happening since scrolling started, and this big screens started on kids, and how their front lobe is not completed yet, the growth of it, and scrolling is destroying it. Even scrolling is destroying our minds now.
True.
And even ChatGPT, if we are using it too much, it will be destroying our minds. So I need to explain this somehow. And believe it or not, for 7 years old, he asked about this and why I can't use this and when I can use this. And I know also when I said I will impose that he will not use social media until a certain age, I know even when I engage him in activities, sports activities or music, he will see other kids doing TikTok dancing. And he maybe will start a secret profile in one of his friends' phones, which is happening, and we see it all the time in help desk, that where a girl started TikTok on her friend's phone, and then this go viral, and her parents don't know. So I need to talk to him all the time. I need to tell him about this will happen at some point. But because I know I work and help desk, I have a lot of information. When I do this training for others or digital training for others, nothing. There is no awareness.
Because you know the dark side.
I know the dark side. I deal with it all the time.
And during the research that I mentioned earlier, especially in Lebanon, for example, a room full of 30 9-year-olds, at least half of them have secret social media profiles that their parents don't know about.
Yeah.
And they told me this at the end of the session when, during the session, we had made sure that we decrease the gap between the two so they can express more.
Yeah.
And at the end they felt very comfortable, so they started sharing things that I know my nephew will not share with me. Because I was very much interested in what they're saying and very much interested in every video game they were telling me about. They felt comfortable enough to tell me, for example, and someone that I know because it's my hometown, so I kind of pick everyone or everybody. So a child gladly told me that someone, and he named him, sent him, for example, nude pictures on his secret profile because he pretended, the kid pretended to be someone else, so that other person sent it. Okay. And he was so proudly talking about it, because it's a achievement. Oh, I tricked this. So we are, this generation is like a black box that. Having access to this phone at this young age, lets the child have access to a lot of another world that the parent don't know about at all. Whatever parental control technique they use, they will try to find a way. So there's no right and wrong at all, especially now because still on the way, and the academic field is very slow, like extremely slow compared to the advancement of technology. So there's no right and wrong. There's different schools in digital literacy. There's more protectionist, and there's more emancipatory. There's schools that ensure that children or people in general should not use digital tools whatsoever. There's more schools that are more emancipatory, that prefer using it, but with critical thinking. There's different approaches, but in our opinion, these takeaways are important to communicate anything to children, especially that now there's no right answer. So, yeah, if no one else has anything to mention.
اوكي انا رح اقول شيء هلا دائما الولد تشايلد بيهمه يكون مثله مثل رفقاته، يعني ما بيهمه اكثر انه انا عم بستعمل السوشيال ميديا قد ما انه رفقاتي عم يحكوا قدامي. سو بكل بساطه في يكون عم بقول له انه اوكي رح فرجيك شو هو تيك توك، تعال شوفها عندي، هيدي هي اذا حدا حكى قدامك شيء تعرف انه هيك بيصير، او هول الفيتشرز الموجودين، او هيدا الموفي اللي طالع هيدا قصته، بس انا ما بدي اياك تكون عم تحضره، او انا ما بدي اياك تكون عم تستعمل هيدا لانه هيك. سو هو اذا حدا حكى قدامه من رفقاته ما بقى رح يحس انه لا انا ما بعرف او ما في شيء واضح، لا رح يحس انه هو مثله انه انا خبرته. سو بكون تجنبت انه يكون هو عم يستعمل السوشيال ميديا، بكون عطيته الشيء اللي رح يريحه معه ويعطيه لشغله وبركي هيداك تصير.
So what you're saying is that one of the ways to deal with the children being feeling left out because all their friends are online and like the fear of missing out of all the features and technologies is that you can simply sit with the child and tell them, okay, you are not allowed to be there, but I can also tell you everything you need to know so you don't feel like you're missing out. So now you know all the new trends, all the new technologies, but through me as a parent or as a psychologist, or as a parent. So that's one way to deal with it. It's like he's not missing out, but he doesn't have full access. So that's one thing. Yeah. Thank you so much. I hope it was fun and useful.
Yes, it was very interesting.
Thank you.
It's actually very important.
I hope there's more discussion about this in general in the country and in the world, because globally it's still very vague.
And I started believing in conspiracy because when I leave my child and it was like about 4 years ago, on the YouTube, there's totally different content that he was exposed to. Yeah, but buzz with toilets and with semi-sexual content with that I showed to my psychologist friend who told me that definitely would play with his mind. So, and restricting this, reporting this with millions of views was really, I wasn't able actually to cut it. So I'm just watching with them now, mostly all the time. Even I'm working. But it's hard, yeah.
You get anxious.
It's very important because like nothing would ما فيش رح يكون محل الام او الباب like surveilling. Like you can't just trust Facebook or YouTube like it's saying that it's kids friendly. We can't trust it because I think you've heard about the Roblox news recently about like child harassment and the graphics that were being shown. And as you mentioned with the Momo doll, I saw it on the TV I think 2 years ago, and it still keeps me right now. Like when you mentioned the name, I still recalled the image and how bothering it was. So I'm seeing myself like as an adult, and that image is still very annoying. It's like a horror character, and then you see like if a 7 or 5-year-old saw it and it kept on popping and maybe talking to them, if it knew their name, how haunting it must be for them.
عمرها 9 سنين بتحسها وراها، يعني ما بتقدر تنام بتتخيلها عم تمشي.
It's a very creepy image.
Just one tip about what you said, like how to stop this from appealing to your kid. Cover the camera and the sensor and the flash in front of the mobile. Why? Because like it's not conspiracy. Like they can see who's watching.
Yeah.
Even if you are hiding just the camera, they can see from the sensor. The mobile can see. You know the sensor with the flash?
Yeah.
They can read who is watching. So you
Not
need
the
to.
camera here, but also.
The camera in front
Yeah.
hide like the full head of the mobile,
Yeah.
including the front flash, and there is a sensor and front flash and the camera. You need to hide it all, so they don't know who's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in all social media, YouTube, using even Google applications. They can see it. مفيش مؤامرة. It's very technical. Yeah, it's very
Thanks so much for the session.
Merci. Thank you.
I don't know if you have heard, but I heard about our research that shows that when you live, for instance, like in some family, I think there is after 5 years, we start moving to sexual
Thank you. Merci. Thank you.
It's producing
صورك أنا.
millions of
يلا.
views.
واحد.
Every
هو في صور؟
صورك
اوكي.
We did the analysis of
أنا ابني عمره 13 سنة.
اوكي.
He built his follower to 9,000. فعندي مشكلة. He using my name. لا يعني family.
It's horrible. Most of it is not generated by
Merci,
people.
thank
Most
you.
of it is kind of generated using AI to deliver a message. It's very.
He built his follower to.
It was. We still haven't published it yet. We're still
Almost
I teach at
9,000.
Jordan Media Institute, so we're working on publishing it.
Because he's using some of my
Media
photos.
information literacy classes for kids.
No, so it's very interesting when you have a future. Est-ce que vous regardez this song? Do you want to keep it?
للولاد عندك كذبة
مظبوط كم مرة
واحد بس في رابطة مع أولاد الجيران
Yes.